talked about by Wisconsin sports fans. For Wisconsin sports fans.
What are you talking about? What am I
You're
scared
playing
of?
scared.
Yeah, you're scared. I can see it.
I see the fear in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know who I didn't see the fear in his eyes?
Who's that?
Jackson Churio.
Yeah, no doubt.
But now all of a sudden, Jordan Love is consistently in that top 5 quarterback conversation because he is, dare I say, the word elite.
Why are kids staying out to 1:30 in the morning?
It was homecoming.
What is going on at 1:30 in the morning for children?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
You saw what Jason did there with the 6'7", trying to appeal to the Gen Z people. Always doing that, Jason. I get what you're doing there.
You're so annoying with that.
What?
This is Sunday Karma, powered by ESPN Wisconsin. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Alongside Greg Scalzo, Alex Strofe, and Kyle Wallace, here's Good Karma Brands founder and CEO Craig Karmazin.
We are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. For those of you not watching on YouTube, I am dancing with a towel. And we're back in the NLCS. The Brewers defeat the Cubs 3-1, 3-2 in the series. They get it done in a epic 5-game series. An epic final game where every pitch mattered. Every run was scored by the Brewers with 2 outs.
Sounds like you were there.
Of course I was there.
Where were you sitting?
I ended up sitting. Why you asking where I'm sitting? Why are you all in my business?
I'm just interested. I mean, I didn't see you on the TV.
Who cares about where I'm sitting? I was at the game. I was in the lower level behind home plate, back about 20 rows or so. I was in awesome seats. It was great. It was an electric building from before the first pitch. There were so many strategic things. Like, I feel like we don't jump into on a 162 game basis. Should you pinch hit? Should you not pinch hit? Should you start this pitcher? Should you brought in this pitcher at this time? Like that's not the flow of how we go.
I'm sorry, Craig. I'm sorry. Never. I've been doing this show since 2018, October, probably around this time, October of 2018.
Yeah.
When it was a different name. Chewy was still on the show. I have never heard you come in the day after anything, coming in Sunday Karma, unless you were sick with your voice like this. You were into it yesterday.
Oh
You
yeah,
were
I was
into
yelling.
it.
Yeah, I was yelling, and it's not like I was out late doing anything else. I mean, I did go to Cops. I felt like that was the most Wisconsin thing you could do after the Brewers won.
Yeah, if you're a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Greg Scalzo is with us, and Greg, it was a win for the ages. It was one of those games where you felt like every single pitching change, everything mattered throughout it. And then, as crazy as it sounds, it was just all home runs, right? 4 runs scored in the game, all solo home runs, and the Brewers had 3 of the 4 of them, and that's how you win.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, walking in last night, it was interesting to see how many Cubs fans made the trip up north, but the Brewers fans were so loud and so into it that it didn't seem to show up that way in the crowd. You're right. I mean, for a team that has won all year on, getting on base, moving runners over, stealing bases.
Second lowest, I believe, percentage of runs scored in the National League on home runs of any team in the league.
And for them to have 3 in the game deciding, the deciding game was unbelievable. And Bryce Terang, who was so great all season and offensively so disappointing through the first 4 games, for him to have that big insurance home run was really encouraging, especially as you get into the LCS.
Dude, that home run, when he hit it, you did not have to be looking at it from where. And I said I was in the 18th row. So I had good seats in the lower level in the 18th row. You literally could hear that it was gone. It was like the crack of the bat and the Bryce Terang contact when he really gets it. And as you said, whatever it was, 2 for 15 coming into this game, it was so welcome. And the whole rest of the game would have felt so different because Abner Uribe was struggling to find the strike zone, for those 2 innings. And if they didn't have that insurance run, the 8th and 9th feel a whole lot different last night.
Absolutely. No, it was such a fun game. The Brewers, did what they needed to do. They got through it in 5, and now you got the Dodgers sitting and waiting for you at AmFam Field on Monday, Tuesday. It's gonna be a great NLCS, and I don't think Brewers fans should be that worried. I mean, I don't think you can look at it and say, hey, they were 6-0 against the Dodgers this season because it's a different Dodgers team. But the Brewers have been the best team in baseball, and over a 5-game series, that proved out against a good team in the Cubs.
Well, I think you're worried because you're playing a great team, and you're worried because you're in the NLCS, and you're worried because you're 4 wins away from the World Series for the first time since 2018. And it was the Dodgers and Manny Machado who stood in your way last time. And it's a different-looking Dodgers team, but it's a team that, the Brewers, as you said, were better than over 162. We're better in their 6 head-to-head matchups, and it's fascinating that, in this world of, all these days off and stuff, you said it, this series, y'all realize how tight this series is played, right?
Yeah, I mean, Monday, Tuesday, and I think they're back in Milwaukee for game 6 and 7 if it's needed.
Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, it's Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
Wait. Right? Because
it's Monday, Tuesday, and
then Wednesday's off to travel.
And
then LA is Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And then
Then off Sunday for travel back if necessary. Then Monday, Tuesday again.
It's like regular season baseball.
Yeah, so it's 7 games in 9 days potentially, which, favors, a deeper team the deeper you go into it. And you would say that would favor the team with the bigger money, right? Because they would have the deeper team. But if you look at the Brewers over the course of this season, and if you look at the pitching staff over the course of the season, the Brewers just had so many different guys. And, you could say it for the regular lineup, but I don't think that's as impactful in the postseason. The Brewers just had so many different arms make a difference. And let's not lose what the arms did last night. And if there was one guy who was the unexpected guy, I guess I can't even say that. I was going to say if there's one guy that was the unexpected guy of the first round for the Brewers, it would be Chad Patrick. But
Chad was ridiculous.
But Jacob Mizorowski, we didn't expect him either, right?
No,
both of those guys, were
two rookies. Let's just be and who neither of them had a full season of Major League Baseball this year. Even in this season, because Chad Patrick got sent back down to the minors. But for me, I was so concerned to have Jacob Mizorowski in that big moment. And I'm not gonna lie, when that home run guy hit, I said, "Here we go," because I was very concerned. But dude, he was throwing off-speed stuff for strikes. He calmed himself down.
I feel like we've talked about Rookie of the Year. I feel like we've talked about Rookie of the Year on this show before, right?
Isaac Collins.
Wait, no.
Henry Rowengartner?
No, Henry Rowengartner.
Oh.
It's a baseball movie about the Cubs, and it's this kid who ends up being who looks like Jacob Mizorowski, kind of, who ends up pitching in the major leagues. And all of a sudden, he needs to get.
I remember that movie. He was a kid.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he needs to get an out late and a few outs late in the game, and he's lost his fastball. And I feel like that's what happened. And isn't that what happened kind of last night? All of a sudden, he gives up the home run, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, slider. Wow, curveball. Wow, slider.
It wasn't that much different than Game 2 when that 96-mile-an-hour slider, which the fact that he throws a 96-mile-an-hour slider is unbelievable. That's his strike pitch. That feels like where he's most comfortable getting it across the plate. Curveball was working for him yesterday. And 2 weeks ago, we were talking about whether Miz was even going to be on the postseason roster. And he came in 2 huge bullpen games and helped lead this team to 2 out of the 3 victories.
But Greg, yesterday, he wasn't even throwing the 104 gas. That was surprising. He wasn't even throwing the gas.
Right. It was 99, 100, occasionally maybe 1 or 2 got to 101.
But game 2 when he came, game 2
Game 2.
Game 2 when he came in, he was throwing gas.
Right, he was throwing 104. He set the record for most pitches.
20 and 100.
Yeah, it was crazy. But it was amazing to see how he was mixing it up and how, as you said, Greg, if he could throw the slider for strikes and the curveballs for strikes, it was going to be really tough to hit him, right? Because he wasn't throwing a lot of fastballs, and he was just as effective as when he was throwing his fastballs early in the season.
And if you're a batter, you still have to be aware that the guy can dial it up to 104. And that's such an uncomfortable thing for a hitter to know that he can dial it up that quickly and then still try to anticipate anything off speed ever. So, I mean, it's going to be really fascinating to me to see what Pat Murphy does.
Well, you got to assume he starts, right? I assume you got to assume the Miz is starting in one of these games.
I mean, you'd think they go Priester 1.
Yes.
Freddie 2.
Yes.
But then you got to work Quintana back in.
100%
he was great over 3 innings.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
So then do you have him pitch game 3, and then you almost go bullpen game 4?
So you go bullpen over Miz. I guess you see how much the bullpen's been used to that point. Because I don't know when you have 7 games in 9 days potentially, can you go bullpen games? Like when your bullpen's going to have to be used so much just over the course of a long series? Can you automatically intentionally put that extra burden on a bullpen in a best of 7 series?
I mean, you're right. You kind of got to see how it goes. I mean, Priester only pitched 40 pitches for his start. Mm-hmm. If that happens in another unfortunate thing, you could pitch somebody like that off of 4 days rest. And we know that this Brewers team is willing to pitch their starters when they need them in playoff situations on short rest. It's going to be a challenge for Pat Murphy, and we saw him get really creative. And
by the way, do you think Freddie was ready last night to pitch the 9th? Because Uribe warmed up when Patrick looked like he might be getting into trouble in the 6th. Uribe was warming up.
Freddie was in the bullpen.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it potentially going to be Uribe for 7 and 8 if Patrick couldn't get through the 7th, and then Freddie would have been the 9th? I mean, it would have been fascinating to see how that would have gone had Uribe come in earlier, or if they're going to try to stretch Abner for 3 innings.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised they went with Ashby as the lefty over somebody like Quintana, given Ashby's struggles and the fact that you had him, you had Quintana ready to go, conceivably, given that he's pitched 3 innings in the last 2 weeks. So, look, I mean, Matt Arnold and Pat Murphy, they gave me a lot of, they rose my blood pressure quite a bit with some of their decisions.
And by the way, I just assumed it was going to be Koenig coming in when Ashby came in.
Yeah, that's the other guy that they left in the bullpen.
And he warmed up later, and maybe they thought, maybe it lined up where he could have pitched the 9th. I don't know, because of the, if those were more high leverage batters, if the way the Cubs lineup shook out, if they were saving him potentially for the 9th inning. But I was surprised that Ashby got in over Koenig.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not expect to see him yesterday. And again, it was shaky, right? He put 2 on, he got 1 out.
But also it's each time, once you have a guy going, it's all right, is he really going to go with Miz another inning? And by the time Miz had pitched 4, it was why not have Miz pitch 5? And by the time Patrick had pitched 1 2/3, it's why not have Patrick come out for another, right? Once these guys get rolling, you're almost all right, it's too scary to bring someone else in. Let's just keep these guys out there.
Yes, exactly. And that's where, look, you got to trust in Murphy and Arnold, who are going to go in and game plan this thing together. And but ultimately, if Terrain can get hot, if that offense can, to me, that the Dodgers are going to score some runs. They just have bats in the lineup. The Brewers are going to have to score some runs in the NLCS in order for them to win this series. And hopefully Terrain gets going, and you can feel comfortable with him there in the top, 4 or 5 in the lineup. Because then 1 through 7 you feel really good about, and it's just, hey, Joey Ortiz and Blake Perkins keep playing great defense.
It almost feels like at some point you almost would want to separate them in the lineup. But I was last night.
That kept happening yesterday.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Those guys on base, and you get that Perkins Ortiz with 2 outs, and it's oh, great. Do you pinch hit here?
And you can't
put
mess
in
up your
Isaac
defense.
Collins
When you're winning, you
No,
can't
you
mess up your
cannot.
defense.
You
So you
cannot.
can't pinch hit for Perkins or Ortiz, I feel like, when you're winning.
Especially with the bullpen that you have. The Brewers, what the bullpen did in this postseason was, absolutely
Sick.
ridiculous.
Sick.
But this has been the bullpen we've seen all this year. They've been stellar. They've stepped up in big moments for the Milwaukee Brewers, and so you definitely want to give
Really for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, but the bullpen
I agree.
has been unbelievable
Dude.
for a decade.
Greg, even years where the bullpen sucked in like May and June and July, like somehow they always figure it out by August and September. You're right, where the defense where the bullpen by then is unbelievable. I said going into the game last night, I don't think they win unless at least 2 of the 3 get hot between Bryce, Frelick, and Durbin. And they all ended up with hits. Turang hit the home run. But ultimately, they would have won. You don't know if it would have been, but literally off the 2 solo shots from 2 guys we haven't mentioned yet in this segment, which is William Contreras and Andrew Vaughn.
Listen.
I know.
Who would have known Aaron Savale saying he didn't want to move to the bullpen would turn into, obviously they were going to bring up the Miz anyways, but it would turn into a moment where he ended up putting you up in that game. Like, that was huge. Where would we be without Andrew Vaughn? Like, that is incredible what Matt Arnold has been able to do, whether it's Quinn Priester or whether it's Andrew Vaughn. Those guys have been significant.
How about Caleb Durbin? That was the trade for Devin Williams.
And that was one. And again, that's what I love about this
How
organization.
about the Corbin Burns trade that gets you Joe Ortiz and DL Hall?
Yeah, again, they've been able. I wish we would have got a little bit more for Corbin. But, they have done a phenomenal job in putting the pieces together, whether it's acquisition or whether it is development. The Brewers have done a phenomenal job.
But can we talk about William Contreras?
He is unbelievable.
He is. He's a dog. He's a dog.
He wants the leadership. He wants the smoke.
He's the leader of the team. Christian Yelich might be the savvy veteran that we have. William Contreras is the guy now.
Willie Adames was the guy, and then Contreras took it over from him.
And now it's Contreras because Yelly's getting older. He's like 33, 34 now. Contreras is the guy, whether it's what he pinned in the Players Tribune or the way he stepped up in this series for this team. He is the guy now for this team. Pass the torch.
And on not just with the bat, right? Like you feel like he is that old school controlling the game as a catcher, going out there, talking to the guys, letting them know if they're not throwing strikes or whatever. You just feel better with him on the field. And you realize who he hit the home run off of? Can we stop and think about that?
It wasn't Colin Ray.
No.
Oh, the first inning it was
Pomeranz.
Yeah. Okay.
Who had not in the postseason given up a hit or a walk. He had faced he had gone 15, I think 5 innings, 15 batters, and, at that point, 17 batters, and had been untouchable. And he just throws the same pitch every time, this 93 and 94 mile an hour, pitch, that. I don't even, what's it called? Is it a 4-seam fastball or something? That he throws the same pitch every time, but he's somehow unhittable. And William Contreras, that was monster, right? When the Brewers had been down in every game, to hit that home run and to let them know that he was there. And I know it ended up being tied when Miz gives up that home run, but Miz giving up that home run to be 1-1 is so different, obviously, than if the Brewers are down at that point. And the Brewers never trailed in the game. I talked with a few people. I could see the stadium getting tight at any point if the Brewers went down. And I thought it was so important that they never went down, which is why the Andrew Vaughn home run, as we know, was the game-winning home run, right? It put them up 2-1, and they never trailed from there.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Contreras, definitely the heartbeat of the team. Best walk-up music, too. And when he walks up to that music and then hits it out of the park, it's electric. And we saw it a couple times happen during this series at AmFam Field. Look, it's such a fun team. The Andrew Vaughn story is amazing. And I hope that they carry this momentum into Monday, Tuesday. This is why you win all those games in the regular season, because to be able to stay home today, be able to get that series started at AmFam Field Monday, Tuesday, ideally, right, you're starting Priester at home, who's been so great at home all year. You get comfortable. They got to get off to a good start in this series, but it's it's great to win a playoff series for the first time since 2018, and that building felt it last night for sure.
Is there what the odds would have been if I had said a Brewers pitcher would have 2 wins in the series? Who would it be? Like, I think you could have maybe gone to 6 or 7 before you would have gotten to Miz. That Miz ends up being 2-0 in the series, pitches 7 innings, 1 earned run. The home run to Suzuki is that run. And, you know, the idea that yesterday he had no walks in 4 innings. And I think if we had known that, we'd feel really good about what his performance was going to be. Uribe couldn't find the strike zone, but he was able to navigate 2 innings really well despite that. Brewers win 3-1. Brewers win the series 3-2. We will be talking much more about it. Jason Wilde will join us as the Packers do take on the Joe Flacco-led Greg in fantasy. I sat Jamar Chase this week, and it was like the worst decision ever. Yeah. Like, he's sick, and he's playing at 325, and I had all these guys playing in London, and now, like, there's been no offense in London, so I'm going to lose in fantasy. Ugh. And it's all because of Jamar Chase's illness, and now I got to really hope the Packers defense shut them down so I don't feel bad about that one. All right, we'll talk more about it all, including much more about the Milwaukee Brewers as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Students can't prepare for future jobs they don't know exist. At Junior Achievement, we help students meet their future selves. With the support of Manpower Group and volunteers from all walks of life, JA programs help young people explore careers, build resumes, and envision bold futures. To learn more, visit wisconsin.ja.org.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Hey, it's Brad Nortman, and when it comes to my home, I want a team that I can trust, and that's Lifetime Home Services. From cleaner air and radon safety to custom closets, window treatments, and home renovations, they do it all under one roof. What I'm most excited about right now is their epoxy floors. They make your garage clean, durable, and organized with shelving and storage options to get everything off the floor. For over 30 years, families just like ours have trusted Lifetime Home Services to make their homes safer and better looking. Trusted solutions, lifetime results. Schedule today at lifetimehomeservices.com.
Every family adventure begins with a vehicle you can trust. At Boucher Automotive Group, we're more than just a dealership. We're part of your journey.
For over 40 years, Boucher has helped Wisconsin families find the right vehicle with service you can count on.
Community is what fuels us too. That's why you'll see us supporting local schools, Little League teams, golf outings, and other causes throughout the year.
From the first time you get behind the wheel to every service visit after, Boucher is there for all the miles and the memories that matter.
The Boucher Automotive Group. We ride with you every mile.
At Heart of Canal Street, for over 30 years, our hearts have been set on making a difference for children in our community. Now through December 10th, we invite you to share your heart by playing the Canal Street Bingo game at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Every time you play this special bingo game, you're helping to raise funds for children's charities in southeastern Wisconsin. Learn more at potawatomi.com/heart.
I've been to my fair share of green and gold games, and the best way to get there is with AccuTrans Group. At Good Karma Brands and ESPN Milwaukee, we use AccuTrans Group to get our partners to and from Green Bay, and it's always first class. From stadiums to concerts and tailgates, your game day fun starts the moment you step on board. Sit back, relax, and let their professional chauffeurs handle the traffic while you enjoy the ride. AccuTrans Group is Milwaukee's premier ground transportation, available 24/7 with sedans, SUVs, limos, vans, and buses. Book today at AccuTransGroup.com.
Hey, it's Alex Strofe. When it's game day, every detail matters, from the perfect seat on the couch to the perfect spread on the table. For over 125 years, Coops has been bringing incredible flavor to the table with 14 bold mustard flavors that turn good food great and great food amazing. Whether it's brats, burgers, or pretzels at halftime, Coops isn't your ordinary mustard. It's extraordinary mustard. So this football season, bring the bold, bring the flavor, bring Coops. Coops Mustard, spreading the love since 1897.
I'm with James Imaging Systems client Preston Clark. He oversees IT services at Creative Business Interiors. Preston, you get the benefit of one-on-one relationships with the James team, like when your sales rep said something unexpected. What did they say?
Hey, this is a little high. You're not printing as much as we thought you were going to print.
Then the James team member had even better news.
Correct. Let's bring that down. Let's make it a little cheaper and still keep you on the same program.
The James Managed Print Services Program. All your document output devices bundled under one invoice that includes service and supplies for one low cost per print. Nice, right, Preston?
Yes, felt great. Felt secure, Don't have to worry about, again, somebody just coming in and selling something and then walking away and never hearing from them again.
James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Give me your biggest takeaway. One.
Oh, number one?
Yes.
With the bullet, it's not even close. Micah Parsons is the guy we thought he is.
On 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Pomerantz deals. Fly ball left center. Crow Armstrong is on the move. He's running out of room. It's gone! William Contreras gives the Brewers a 1-0 lead on his second home run of the series.
Compliments to
Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Brewers Radio Network. Jeff Levering, I was too excited to jump in there. I was just so awesome. You know what, Kyle? I'm proud of you.
Why is that?
You know whose name you didn't say the entire first segment?
Lou Fickle.
No. Now that, yes. I'm proud of you on that one also.
Craig Karmazin.
Yes. You were able to appreciate the win for the win and not for the troll of the loss.
Dude, but
I know you but by the way, the Yankees beat the Red Sox. And so when these rivalry teams play, it does mean more. And then this one meant way more because of Craig. Going into this game, if they had lost, you can't say all the greatest regular season, it all would have meant nothing, but it would have meant a lot less. Right? If a team from your division with Craig Counsell had beaten the Brewers last night and eliminated the Brewers, we could all be honest now, the season would have felt so differently.
Oh, yeah, it would have. It would have. But listen, I didn't mention it. You brought him up. I wasn't even thinking about Craig, but hey, he literally left Milwaukee because he said that the resources, right, were not there in order to get this team over a hump to a championship. And just like that, the team that he left.
He didn't say that's why he left.
He said they didn't have the money.
He said that the Cubs were going to have those. He never said that about the Brewers.
Oh, okay. So if I leave an ugly woman and say, hey, I'm just happy to be somewhere where I always have a beautiful woman to look at, the girl that I just left going to think she was ugly.
Right.
So
she's going to think that, but I'm not saying that. We all don't know all the stuff that went on behind the scenes. So
he got offered a deal to be the richest manager in baseball. Is that not
he
true?
was offered that by the New York Mets and did not take it.
But wasn't he offered that by the Brewers too? The Brewers are going to make him the highest paid too.
He was offered by the New York Mets. I don't know the exact of what everybody. I know the Mets offered him the most.
Defending that Benedict Arnold trader.
I'm not.
Just like the Red Coast, we sent his behind packing back to Chicago. Just like we sent Benedict Arnold backpacking over there to London.
Is that what happened with Benedict Arnold?
He didn't stay in the U.S.
I don't know.
Ain't no way you commit treason like that.
So he didn't get killed? He just went back to London, lived a nice life there?
Oh, wow.
I mean, that doesn't seem like that big of a... I mean, London's kind of nice. I'm saying, if that's what Benedict Arnold got for being a treasonous guy, he just got to live in London?
Was Benedict Arnold executed for treason?
I mean, because that doesn't seem that bad. All right, we'll find out, and we'll talk to Jason Wilde as we continue.
He wasn't executed.
It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
When the leaves start to fall and your roof starts to call, fix it in the fall, fix it in the fall. If your shingle's looking rough and your gutter's full of stuff, get it fixed before it's froze, man. It's time to call the pro. We patch it, we match it, we stop that drip. Free estimates, quick fix. Don't let your roof slip. Your home's your castle. We keep it tight. Call Avondale Roofing. They roof it right. Fall deals dropping it like it's hot. Call Avondale Roofing at 855-819-7663.
Your path to a degree should fit your life, not the other way around. At Lakeland University, you can personalize every part of your college experience. With a main campus in Sheboygan, evening classes across the state, and flexible online options, you choose how and when you learn. Just graduated high school, changing careers, juggling work and life, they've got options for you. You can even earn credit for experience you already have, or for the work you're doing now, saving time and money. Start customizing your future today at lakeland.edu/ESPN. Lakeland University. Experience it your way.
Homer for Window Nation. It's October, and if you've got old windows, that means you're back to dealing with chilly air seeping into your home. Eliminate annoying drafts once and for all with Window Nation in Milwaukee. This month, buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, plus pay nothing for 2 years. With the holidays coming up, it's a big deal, and they can do it so quickly. Don't miss out on free windows and 0 payments for 2 years with Window Nation, proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Visit windownation.com before October 31st to get started.
Is back pain slowing you down? When it comes to spine care, you need specialized expertise. At the OAW Spine Center, their orthopedic care specialists provide the highest level of care for everything from herniated discs to spinal fusion. They start with the most conservative, non-surgical treatments like physical therapy and injections. If surgery is needed, minimally invasive procedures at the OAW Spine Center will get you back on your feet faster. With a focus on treating the source of the problem, they take a comprehensive, active approach to spine health, getting you back to the life you love. The OAW Spine Center. There is a difference. Visit OAWspinecenter.com. That's OAWspinecenter.com.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns, it's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but the way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for more than 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
Green and gold fans, it's game day. And you know what that means. Tailgating with friends and raising a glass to our favorite team. This season, make Bacardi the star of your pregame party. Whether you're mixing up a classic Bacardi and cola, refreshing Bacardi lime and soda, or a smooth spiced and cola, Bacardi is the perfect pick for game day fun. Grab a bottle and get ready to cheer on Green Bay with the best in hand. Available now at your local retailer. Live passionately, drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
Whether it's breaking Packers news, breaking Bucks news, or breaking Brewers news, we are Milwaukee's place for the biggest sports stories right when they happen on 94.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Sign is out at Mizorowski. 1-2 pitch. Check swing, he went around, strike 3. Mizorowski strikes out Dansby Swanson to retire the Cubs in the second inning.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
And that was when it got going. Jacob Mizorowski pitched the second through the 5th inning, 4 innings, no walks. The important number, just surrendered the 1 home run en route to his second victory of the series. the Brewers' third victory of the series. Brewers win 3-1. Brewers win the series 3-2. Historic win that goes down forever in Brewers history. This goes down forever in Brewers history. Now, right now, you look at the odds. The Brewers have a 35% chance to beat the Dodgers, according to the odds. If you break down the gambling odds right now.
Could care less.
Now, what I would say is they tend to be biased toward L.A., like not a ton, but always a little bit. Odds are a little shaved, a little toward L.A. just because of the historic Vegas and all that. But what that means is there is a big chance for the Brewers to get it done. And they got it done in front of this guy's favorite player of all time who threw out the first pitch last night. Of course, we're talking about Paul Molitor, and we're talking about Jason Wilde. Good morning, Jason.
Robin Yountz.
Oh, I confused
them.
I thought you were a Paul Molitor
Paul
guy.
Molitor was there, too. No. I would say he was third in my youth after Robin Yount and Tony Gwynn. Those were my guys.
So obvious to be a Yount guy. For some reason, I thought you were a Molitor guy, like you were a second baseman and you were a Molitor guy. I guess not.
Very, very. Yeah, I moved around the infield.
I didn't think you had the arm. I didn't think you had the arm to play short, so I figured,
That.
Yeah. So Jason, the Brewers.
By the way,
yeah, okay.
briefly. What a remarkable story Mizorowski is. Like, he shoots across the sky like this meteor, and he goes and pitches in the All-Star game, and then he has this adversity of his control issues, and he's not even starting any games, and yet then he comes through.
Well, not even Jason.
2 games.
Jason not starting, and then comes in relief to see if it can work against the Reds.
Right.
Struggles, kind of, could have gotten out of it on his first batter, but doesn't, and ends up really struggling against the Reds in the regular season game to the point that many believed he should not be on the postseason roster at all.
Yeah. I love it when guys come out on the other side of adversity and they're better for it. And he obviously, for him to get 2 of the 3, and I understand wins aren't the most important statistic anymore and all that other stuff, but the way he pitched in the 2 situations he was in, and for them to win this series in part because he pitched as well as he did, that's pretty cool.
By the way, a holding penalty in the end zone gives the New York Jets a safety, and the Jets lead the Broncos now 11-10. 3 field goals for the Jets and a safety. The Jets had the least yards of any NFL team in a first half this year, but somehow lead the game 11-10. Pretty soft holding call there on the Broncos, but Broncos do lead at 11-10. Packers get ready to play the Bengals. Joe Flacco joins the Jets, lead 11-10. Packers get ready to play the Bengals. Joe Flacco joins the Bengals. Jamar Chase is sick. What are we expecting today at Lambeau Field at 3:25, Jason?
Well, I would say this. Whenever the Packers and the Bengals get together, that old saying about throwing out the records, the saying now is something weird's going to happen. Kaush and I were talking about this week. There was the game where Antoine Odom had 5 sacks in a game out of nowhere. It wasn't like he was.
By the way, was there a game that Vonnie Holiday against the Bengals had a ton of sacks back in the day, or is that?
Yeah, Vonnie had his against the Bills. Good memory.
The Bills. Okay.
Yeah, he had a 5-sack game as well.
But there was that crazy game where all the field goals got missed also, right? A few years back.
Oh my gosh, I was Mason Crosby in that game. I was going crazy.
But the Bengals missed them too.
Yeah, Evan McPherson also missed a bunch of kicks. And then my personal favorite was when, and this was when I was still traveling, when they were in Cincinnati and the Packers are mired. I think that was 2005. I have to check my stats, but they're mired in this disappointing season, and they have a chance to go down and win the game at the end. And they're in the red zone, and Brett Favre drops back to throw, and they're I'll never forget this, in the press box, they're at the left end of the field. And I see out of the corner of my eye a fan running onto the field from the right side. And no one sees him coming. He runs the length of the field, and he comes up behind Favre and he plucks the ball just after Favre has gotten the snap. He's back in the pocket. They blow the play dead because the officials see this guy coming. Favre doesn't. Nobody, Tausch is blocking and everybody else. And the guy comes up behind Favre and plucks the ball out of his hand and then starts running like a crazy man to midfield with the ball. And it was incredible because the Packers were in position. They scored a touchdown to take the lead, and they end up losing that game. But it was.
By the way, that reminded me of last night
when
somehow Sal Frelick stole a base while the pitcher never even threw a pitch.
Right.
We're all watching him run, and I'm like looking at the Cubs fans and like, don't say anything, don't tell them he's running, and like literally the pitcher never turns to see. Like,
I mean, that wasn't his job was to get out. He just needed one out at that moment. So he was like, and they said he's allowed 24 or 25 straight stolen bases.
But you'd think someone would yell like going, and he would see and just step off the rubber and throw to second base. But like the fact that nobody like was able to communicate with the pitcher to know that Sal Frelick was stealing second base, that was wild.
It was.
It was totally wild.
So Jason, what should we expect today?
Yeah, I would. This is the opportunity that I think we've talked about, but we talked about it with the game against the Cowboys too, and only half of it happened. This is their chance to kind of get right after the last 2 weeks. I think the defense, talking with guys throughout the week, like they're legitimately embarrassed that they played as poorly as they did for the last like drive of the second quarter, and then the quick change after the fumble by Love when the Packers shouldn't have been so aggressive. Suddenly they give up 2 touchdowns at the end of the half, then they give up 3 more touchdowns. They were embarrassed by their performance. So we'll see what Joe Flacco can do when he's got even a sick Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at his disposal as opposed to what he had in Cleveland. But I think you'd love this to be, as a Packers fan, kind of a walk in the park game, right? Where they win handily and it's not ever in doubt. I just don't know if the way they've played of late, we can assume that that'll be the case. You can certainly hope that'll be the case, but I'm not 100% sure that's going to be the case, especially, again, just the fact that weird stuff happens every time they play these guys.
So the Cowboys have the number 1 offense in the NFL from a yard standpoint. I think we all thought that when those CeeDee Lamb, like that wasn't a top 5 offense. And is the defense looking at it that way, or are they just looking at it like we're embarrassed? Like it's not like the Cowboys are that good. We just were bad.
I think they're looking at it more the second way. Now, it's worth pointing out that, I thought the Cowboys played pretty well offensively in that Philly game. And that was before Philly started, or at least before the issues that Philly has started to affect their results. And so
that was with CeeDee Lamb.
Right, I agree. But Dak Prescott was fantastic in that tie. I mean, he really was. Like they neutralized Micah Parsons, even though Micah Parsons had like 8 pressures because they were only pressures, not sacks, because he was so good about getting the ball out. He played a really, really good game.
Jason, can I ask you a quick question about that?
Yeah.
So why didn't they send more pressure in the sense of, instead of just rushing 4, why didn't they try to blitz Edgerrin Cooper a little bit more? I think he only rushed 2 or 3 times in that game, and Quay Walker maybe was 2 or 3 times. Why did they send more pressure? Try to get the ball.
I didn't ask Jeff Hafley that. I think he definitely was struggling to find answers for the way they were playing. And look, I don't know, maybe it's because Edgerrin Cooper was too busy missing tackles. Like he did not have a good game, which, again, this is what happens with young players. Occasionally, even ones as good as Edgerrin Cooper have a game where you're kind of like, well, where'd that come from? I thought he was past that type of game, but they did not tackle well in that game at all. I think they were charged with 8 missed tackles, and they probably deserved even more. So, the question is, do you chalk that up to, okay, just it was one of those days, or do you look at it and go, okay, there's a lot of things we can really learn from it? And I think they took the latter approach. But again, I'm really fascinated by this, and it was obviously a very significant talking point all week long. But the Joe Flacco thing, and if you remember, in 2011, the Packers played the Broncos early in the year, and their quarterback was Kyle Orton. And then late in the year, they're 13-0. They go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, and the Chiefs quarterback is Kyle Orton. So this is not the first time this has happened to the Packers where a quarterback got traded and they faced them again, but certainly not in this short of order. So, and Kyle Orton only beat them once with the Chiefs. So I'm super curious to see how different Joe Flacco is with the talent he will have at his disposal. Nothing against Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku, but these two guys, even if Jamar Chase isn't 100% because he's sick, these two guys are the real deal, and they're the best tandem in the league. And it's going to be a really interesting test, too, for a cornerback group that especially, Carrington Valentine, who played extensively after Nate Hobbs had the concussion. Nate Hobbs, who may or may not go, he's questionable, but he didn't play well in that Dallas game either. So I'm super curious to see how they handle the two of the best in the business.
Yeah, Jason, Micah Parsons is on pace for double-digit sacks, so that seems normal. But is it anything to be worried about that Jamar Chase has more solo tackles coming into this game than does Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons has 4 solo tackles total on the year, and Jamar Chase, who, again, struggled to find a quarterback. We'll see if Flacco is one. So Jamar Chase has 5 solo tackles on the year, which is more than Micah Parsons has.
That is a wild stat. From tackling guys after they'd intercepted Jake Browning passes, I assume?
Yes. Literally, he has. That's wild, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yes. That is a crazy stat.
Unfortunate stat, actually.
Yeah, so Mike has 4 solos and 4 assists. Jamar just has 5 solos, but he's got more tackles than Micah Parsons. I know, again, he's not a tackle machine, but does that speak to his lack of impact? Or is it, hey, it's about those quarterback pressures, it's about the big plays, and we can't get caught up whether he has 3 tackles or 5 tackles? That's pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't think it's completely irrelevant. And I do think, he's been better than I expected him to be as a run defender. Obviously, Jerry Jones didn't think very highly of that, or at least that was part of his argument for moving on.
So how is that true, though, Jason, if he has 8 tackles, 4 tackles and 4 assists? Is it just not necessarily getting the tackle, but holding in the space and,
Correct,
okay.
Yes. It's setting the edge, which, again, look, they didn't pay him $188 million to set the edge against the run. They paid him to get after the quarterback. I get that. But there are plays where the quarterback doesn't throw it, and you have to do, kind of the dirty work job. And I always thought one of the things that, and I've been critical of Rashawn Gary at times during his career, and I would say one of the things that he's really improved at and cares more about has been his play against the run. Now, he and Lucas Van Ness were total non-factors in the game in Dallas. And to me, that is where the Micah Parsons effect matters, is that if he is going to draw double teams and still generate 8 pressures, the guys that are getting the one-on-one matchups, we talked again with Jeff Hafley about this week, those guys have to get home and have to get pressure more often. Speaking of Jamar Chase's tackle statistics versus other players, last week, Lucas Van Ness did not record a statistic at all. He didn't even have an assisted tackle. Didn't have a pressure. Didn't have any quarterback at nothing. And so, this is a guy who, I thought was going to be one of the guys that benefited. And he's going to be in a crucial spot today because clearly they're going to, if they want to rush 4 on 3rd downs, they're going to move him inside because they don't have Devontae Wyatt. So he's probably going to play even a little more than he has previously. Wyatt is out with a knee injury. They really liked how he was playing. I don't think we can say that correlation equals causation, that when Devontae Wyatt went out in the Dallas game, the Cowboys went on to score touchdowns on 5 of their next 6 possessions. But I do think that factored in. There's no doubt about that. I don't think it's the only reason why that happened. But, they're going to miss him today. And in their pass rush package, LVN's going to have to show up more than he did in the game in Dallas.
Before we go out to break, Kyle, do you see what happened after we were talking about him?
He is in that boy head.
So we were talking about Pat Surtain and how he's the best defensive player in the league and how somehow last year he won Defensive Player of the Year as a cornerback. And today he is matched up one-on-one with Garrett Wilson everywhere on the field. Garrett Wilson through 3 quarters had 2 catches for 5 yards. 2 catches for 5 yards. Literally, he's on top of him. Garrett Wilson, for the first time, caught the ball with about a yard of space, the most space he's had. And Surtain got him within 1 yard and caused the fumble.
It was like a quick pass right at the line of scrimmage.
He got a 3-yard pass, which is the most open he's been all day for a 3-yard reception, and Pat Surtain just caused a fumble. They may review it and say there was an
possession, but that
it was an incomplete pass.
He looked like he had possession.
I know
he knocked it out.
is so in Garrett Wilson's head. It is so unbelievable to see a great player doing what we're seeing today. As they are calling it an incomplete pass. The Jets still lead 11-10, 19 seconds to go in the third quarter. We'll talk Packers offense with Jason Wilde as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It doesn't matter if it's your first betting slip ever or just the first one of the week. We've got your Potawatomi sportsbook picks covered. Tune in Wednesdays to the Weekly Wager with Josh DiMaggio and Ben Brust.
Greasy Ben Brust. Just whichever way the wind's blowing. I have bad posture. I don't have a great backbone, Joshy.
The Weekly Wager, Wednesday nights at 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel.
We all have someone we know or love that has been affected by some form of cancer.
No matter how well you love and support them and try to be there for them, you can never really know what a person is feeling after hearing the words, "You have breast cancer."
Only another person that has been through this experience can really understand what it feels like.
ABCD, After Breast Cancer Diagnosis, is a Milwaukee-based organization known around the world.
When someone calls ABCD, they are matched with a mentor who is a breast cancer survivor of similar age and has the same type of breast cancer who can provide hope when people need it the most.
Kessler's is excited to announce that we've designed 3 new Hope pendants to honor breast cancer patients, survivors, thrivers, and caregivers.
100% of the net proceeds, along with an additional donation from Kessler's, will support ABCD when you purchase the symbol of hope.
You can find a link with more information about ABCD, along with all 3 modern designs starting at just $75 in sterling silver and $598 in gold, online at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Dave Spano from Annex Wealth Management. It didn't seem like it when the season started, but we've watched the crew become a great team. We're just as proud of the team here at Annex. I'll put the Annex team up against anyone when it comes to what we do. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. If that's what you're looking for, let's talk soon. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. In the meantime, let's enjoy championship baseball in Milwaukee.
Whoa! What are these? Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Available in 2 great flavors, cheesy garlic or pepperoni. Both delicious. Screamin' Sicilian doesn't play around. They're fully loaded breadsticks that come in their own bakeable tray.
Dang! Woo! These are next level. Are they the main course?
Nah, just the appetizer. Find Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Bring the party, bring the flavor.
For your fellow fanatics and your #1 fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
Hey, it's your friend John McGivern. In a world full of chaos, I'm grateful for a health plan that has my back. Network Health is so reliable and trustworthy, they always put me and over 126,000 members first. It's just what they do and what they've always done for over 41 years. Call 833-7-NETWORK today. HMO and POS plans underwritten by Network Health Plan. Compensation has been provided for using this endorsement of Network Health.
Escape to Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin, where everything is better at the lake. Dive into endless outdoor activities, including boating, fishing, and paddleboarding on the serene Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind in the award-winning Calidora Spa. Enjoy gourmet meals at 1878 on the lake, casual bites at the Lookout Bar and Eatery, and sweet treats at the Isle of Capri Cafe. Explore Delavan Lake's stunning shores and historic landmarks from the comfort of their 76-foot cruise boat, the Lake Lawn Queen. Book your stay today at LakeLawnResort.com.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen. Tune into the Rich Eisen Show weekdays from 12 to 2 right here on 94.5 ESPN.
You're listening to ESPN Milwaukee on 94.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The pitch, Shanna drive out to left. It is back. Happ at the track at the wall. Bye, baseball. Long live Andrew Vaughn. The Brewers take a 2-1 lead here in the fourth.
More Sunday Karma coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Continuing with Jason Wilde and Alex Strofe, who is up at the Tundra Trio getting ready for Green Bay game day. Strofe, I haven't gotten your first take on the Brewers going to their third National League Championship Series.
Yeah, pretty exciting. I haven't hugged that many strangers since the Bucks won the title in 2021. There were so many excited people in the city of Milwaukee last night. It was pretty awesome. Unbelievable game.
Wait, so where were you when the last out happened?
I was about 6 inches from where you are currently.
Okay. And then
I was in the studio for our watch party, and then after we ended the watch party, I hit the town a little bit, little celebratory libations.
And was it that feeling, just like random people hugging each other at bars?
Yes. No, I legitimately was hugged by several strangers, unwillingly. But hey, you know what? It was celebratory. Everybody had a smile on their face, so it was all good. But yeah.
Wait,
so,
Jason, let's get the prediction before he tells us. So, Jason, do you think that's just like random dudes hugging at a bar? Or, Jason, do you think it's like, oh, my God, that's Alex Strofe. I want to hug Alex Strofe. Do you think, Jason, what's your prediction there?
Good follow-up.
I've never been more confident in saying it was random dudes hugging at a bar.
Yeah, I understand why you are so confident, because that would be the correct prediction, yes.
Okay. I mean, that speaks nothing to the trajectory of Alex Strofe's career. I still feel like it's ascending, right, Jason?
Dang, Strofe.
My stock is still trending upwards.
I hugged that guy that ran the 3-cone drill.
All right, that's enough of that. Enough of that. But yeah, I mean, unbelievable bounce back, by the way, for and I heard Greg talk about this a bit earlier, but Bryce Terang, that was a guy who obviously all season was so great for this team, but just offensively had done just about nothing since his double in game one in the first inning. And you were waiting kind of for that Bryce moment, and you finally got it in form of an insurance run last night. So hopefully he's able to carry that into and continue it in the NLCS. But big moment for him. Miz, unbelievable. Chad Patrick, unbelievable. There's just so many ridiculous stories about this team, and the magic carpet ride continues on Monday.
Did anyone hear Pedro Martinez is talking about the Brewers after the game?
I saw his tweets, but I didn't hear him.
He said, "Watch out, LA, watch out."
Yeah, so Pedro was saying, he's like, and he has said this all year, he's like, there's certain teams that I just look at, and I'm like, I would have trouble with that team because they all can hit and they all just scrap. He's like, I would have trouble with that team. So everyone's saying this is David versus Goliath, and he's like, don't count the Brewers out against anybody. And Pedro Martinez is obviously a brilliant baseball mind and one of the best pitchers in the history of the game. So that was pretty exciting to hear. So speaking of tough to stop, let's talk about that Packers offense, Jason, who did put up a lot of points against the Cowboys. They didn't get into the end zone on that last drive. What do we expect to see from them today, and who's healthy and who's not?
Yeah, the big question is obviously going to be who on their offensive line is going to be available. And it sounds like all three of the guys that are listed as questionable for the game are going to play. At left tackle, Rasheed Walker has a quadriceps injury. At left guard, we know Aaron Banks has been in and out of the lineup with a groin injury, and then obviously the Zach Tom saga with that oblique. All three of those guys listed as questionable. The hope is that all three of them will play. I think all three of them feel like they will play, but at the same time, Strofe and I have been surprised before, 90 minutes before kickoff during Green Bay game day, when someone is or is not active. I think back to that day, Strofe, when Zach Tom was active in Cleveland, and we were both like, what? And then we were right, and he was wrong, as he went out after one play of crashing into Myles Garrett.
I'm certainly hoping that's not the case today. Well, in terms of we feel bad about it, and turns out we were right. We hope he's active and he's able to get through the whole game, unlike he was able to get through more than one snap in Cleveland. But yeah, you're right. We've been proven wrong before. We will see what the case is at about what would it be, Jason? Math here, 155.
155 at the tail end of the Wilde hour on Green Bay game day.
Yeah, I think the one that stands out to me the most would be, and I'm sure a lot of people listening remember this, September 5th, 1998.
I wasn't alive yet.
Okay, so you might not remember it. But
I was born a few months after that.
We had just launched our station that we're on right now in Madison, and we'd launched it a few months earlier, and we had decided that we were going to do pre- and post-games for every Badger game and every Packers game. So we were on 7 days a week, Steve Politziner and me, and the Badgers were starting the season against San Diego State, and we do this full pre-game show that we did from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, breaking down Ron Dane and how he's going to run against San Diego State and, like, what this game's going to be about and all that. And, Dane's go for 200 yards. Dane's go for 300 yards. And, Ron Dane wasn't even playing. We had no idea. We had no insight into the team. We knew nothing. So,
what were you up to in 1998, Greg?
1998, I would have been 9 years old. So what is that, third grade, fourth grade?
Yeah, something like that.
Mr. White's class in fourth grade.
Scalzo's here, by the way.
Yeah, so that's why it's good to have people like Jason Wilde here. So, Jason, what about receivers? What about the offense? Like, what do we expect to see from this offense today against the Bengals, who, I think are a pretty good defense?
Yeah, Strofe and I were talking about this on Weekly Wilde, and it's been interesting to kind of see how fans have felt about Jordan Love's season, because on the one hand, like, his numbers are fantastic. He's thrown for 1,000 yards. He's completing nearly 70% of his passes. He's got 8 touchdowns against the 1 interception that he threw in Cleveland. His passer rating is, I think, 3rd in the NFL or 4th in the NFL. He's been really, really good. But then on the flip side, there's basically 3 moments in critical situations that his head coach is culpable for as well, but that he didn't make plays or made mistakes. The interception in Cleveland, that is a mistake that he has taken ownership of, although you can also argue that Matt LaFleur should have just run the ball into the line of scrimmage, and if you get the first down, great, and otherwise you punt, and Joe Flacco and that offense isn't going to come and score a touchdown and tie the game. There's the fumble at the end of the first half in Dallas, which you can argue that Matt LaFleur was overly aggressive, and he shouldn't have been calling that to begin with. On the flip side, he's got to have that pocket awareness so that fumble doesn't happen. That leads to a touchdown on the very next play.
I'm not mad at LaFleur on that one. I mean, I think against a Cowboys offense, I don't think they should have been so conservative there.
I am merely voicing the opinion of those that don't want Jordan Love to be criticized. So that's the argument that they can make. I think it's a fair argument. I don't agree with it either. You feel like you're probably going to be in a shootout, so you try to be aggressive. You have your timeouts. You have an opportunity there. And then obviously at the end, the dawdling to the line of scrimmage, that is everyone's fault, including LaFleur's. But he's got LaFleur in his ear telling him, let's go, we got to go, we got to go. And he does not relay that. He doesn't get guys in position. They have 1 second left, and he throws the check down, which is a big mistake. He can't throw that ball. He's got to throw it out of bounds instead. So I'm curious to see if with those types of mistakes kind of dragging down what would otherwise be an A grade, can he have some games now as we get into the heart of the schedule where he plays at the level he's playing at and he eliminates those mistakes. Because if he does, then they're in a really good spot.
All right, Jason, last question. Who is going to be the Carlos Daniels of today's game? If it's not...
Who is Carlos Daniels?
You don't know who Carlos Daniels is?
No. I knew Carlos Zambrano is, and he would have been packing yesterday, too.
No, Carlos Daniels, when we did that
Carlos
whole
Lee.
September 5th, 1998, we talked all about how Ron Dane, and if not Dane, it'd be Eddie Faulkner as the backup. But it was Carlos Daniels that day. 28 carries, 113 yards. Who's going to be the Carlos Daniels today for the Green Bay Packers, the guy we're going to be talking about after this game, Jason?
It's a great question. Malik Heath.
Ooh, that's digging.
Because it's got to be someone that we're not expecting, right? So you can't say, oh, it's going to be Romeo Doubs or whomever.
Or Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, Carlos. I didn't think I'd hear a Carlos Daniels reference ever again. 2 seasons at Wisconsin, 72 carries, 299 yards, plus 3 catches for 6 yards. He had 1 career touchdown.
I take Carlos now on this team.
Yeah, against San Diego State, though, that night. He rocked San Diego State. Mike Samuel behind quarterback. I'll never forget that night. All right, Jason, we'll have more from some of those guys. Who knows? We may even hear more from Jason later. I don't know when he gets to. No, he probably isn't up, but you're not at the Tundra Trio for a little while, are you, Jason?
My portion of the program starts at 1. I should probably shower first before I go.
All right. That means we will hear more from Alex Strofe and Greg Scalzo. Jason, thank you very much.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
All right. Sunday Karma continues. It's ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Neck and back surgeries can be risky. Your spine deserves the best. That's why professional athletes choose Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. We can help you too. With the top nationally rated spine surgeons in the state for quality outcomes, you can trust the professionals at Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. Get a second opinion in just a few clicks. Now offered virtually throughout Wisconsin. Visit nscwi.com. Whether you want to get back into the game or just get back to life, go where the pros go. Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. Your spine health is our passion.
I walk on the shoulders of giants who have come before me. I am ASAP and Maya Angelou. I am Marva Collins and Frederick Douglass.
From A to Z, I celebrate, emulate, and commemorate their example.
This is part of the Declaration of Excellence Milwaukee College Prep scholars recite not just during Black History Month, but each and every morning. Because our students don't just honor history, they're determined to shape it. Enroll your scholar for the 2025-26 school year at MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
Looking to heat up a career in HVAC? Dick & Trough Heating and Cooling in Milwaukee is now hiring HVAC installers and service technicians. Family owned and operated, Dick & Trough offers competitive wages, a 401k match, health insurance benefits, and a winning, positive team culture that sets them apart. This is more than a job. It's a chance to grow with a company that truly values its people. Apply now to become their newest team member at dickandtrough.com. Dick & Trough Heating and Cooling. Come see the difference. Apply at dickandtrough.com.
Homer here from ESPN Milwaukee. What makes living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Dave.
The campus is beautiful. For me, nature is my church, and I love being outside. We live by the Bark River, and it's calming. It just calms my soul. I just love it. A lot of the people, I'm talking about 100-year-old people, 90 years old, say they credit Three Pillars with living longer.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Bruston Nortman every day from 2 to 5. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
I'm a night out, it's a different mode. I'ma have to make a paint of 6 on a pinky toe. Heard you with a shooting guard, just let it.
Curveball hit into right. Frelick is right there. A step to his left, makes the catch. Mizorowski pumps the fist. He goes 3 up and 3 down through the Cubs in the top of the 5th inning. Halfway home, the Brewers 2, the Cubs 1.
More Sunday Karma coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
You know his name we haven't mentioned today?
Who now?
I thought you were going to say Luke Fickell again. That's why I was just messing with you. No, we have not mentioned Trevor McGill.
He came in, he was lights out. Thank goodness we finally got out the first inning.
Right? I mean, it's like all these decisions, when they don't work, are easy to criticize, right? Like,
yeah, they are.
What are you starting our closer for? And 11 pitches, and you said it, he was lights out. He was fired up. He was going crazy as he was going to the dugout. And kind of like almost every pitcher yesterday, I said it like when McGill got off, there was a piece of me that's like, all right, 11 pitches?
Yeah,
He's probably got another inning left in him.
I thought, because you know how Abner went basically 2 innings. I thought, okay, well, Trevor didn't have too many pitches, and, let him go out there, see how he does. And if he gets in any type of trouble, you have somebody else. But Pat Murphy had a plan in his mind, and the plan was executed extremely well. I told you before, when Miz came in there, I was a little nervous.
And I wonder if it's because it was Miz that he wanted to give Miz a clean inning. So like you said, if McGill got into trouble in the second inning, he could bring someone in. I wonder if with it being Miz, he felt like Miz, who's been a starter more than he's been a reliever, would be more comfortable.
Coming in like that.
We said, against the Reds, he came in, in a dangerous spot in his last relief outing of the regular season. So maybe
that probably
played into it, or maybe it was like, hey, McGill's a one-inning guy, no matter what, even if it's 6 pitches, we're only giving him 1 inning.
And that I think,
and it was 11. It was 11.
I would say more so McGill being a 1-inning guy would probably be the reason why he probably brought him in at that point, and that was just part of the plan. But I tell you, I was on pins and needles last night watching that game. I mean, I was quiet, then I was loud, then I was clapping, then I was jumping, then I was It was a stressful game, but as the game went on and you saw the pitching just being lights out for the Milwaukee Brewers and them getting out of jams, it was fun. I mean, that was one of the more fun baseball games that I got to watch. And then talking about Bryce Terang with the heroics, a guy who, like you and Greg talked about it during the first hour, he struggled. Bryce was lost, especially in Chicago. He was lost in Chicago, and so yesterday he still was scuffling. And then
in the first inning, or was it his fly out to left? One of those flyouts he had hit pretty well. He just got under it a little bit earlier in the game.
He was struggling, so that home run was clutch. I mean, that was extremely clutch for him. And like you mentioned as well, that cushion was needed because there's a different level of stress when you're up 1 versus being up 2.
Uribe could not throw a first pitch strike. He was getting behind every batter, and even with kind of settling late in the second inning that he pitched in the 9th, he still half of his pitches were balls. So Uribe was by no means dominating. So absolutely that second run was monstrous. Not just for us to be like a little more calm as we were all nervous watching that game.
I was a nervous
I'm saying,
wreck.
but a little more calm than if it was 2-1 versus 3-1.
No, 2-1 is a whole different ball game.
That's what I'm saying.
You are one swing of the bat from tying, especially as Christian Yelich mentioned after the game. Something that was all in our minds is the fact that the Brewers have been in this situation all of a year ago, being up late in the game, and all of a sudden, just like that, they're down. I mean, as Rob Euchre said, that one has some sting on it. I couldn't do it. I was watching.
Well, that's why them never getting down. That's why we've talked about Contreras a lot, and we've talked about Terang a lot. But Andrew Vaughn's home run in the middle, right? So that they never got down when all of a sudden it was tied. It was not tied for long, right? It was tied in the second, and then it was the 4th inning when Vaughn hits the home run to go up 2-1.
King Vaughn hits that. Again, for me, when I look at this Brewers team, they've been able to do it in so many different ways. And we can't not stress enough of the fact that this team wasn't a home run hitting team. They scored some of the most runs in baseball, basically being able to be aggressive, being able to, work the count, being able to get on base, and being able to have clutch hits. The Brewers had clutch hits using the long ball yesterday. And you said it earlier as well. 2 outs. 2 outs, the Brewers were still able to score runs, and that had been a common theme throughout this series. So this team is exactly what they've shown throughout the year. That's why when I look at the L.A. Dodgers, yes, the Dodgers have some studs. They have some stars. It's not going to be easy for the Milwaukee Brewers to get out of this to get to the World Series. And on top of that, they're going to be, as you've already seen, they're going to be the underdog going into the series.
By the way, the Dodgers this year hit 78 more home runs than the Brewers.
But what they scored less runs than us.
And scored 19 more runs.
Oh, so they scored so they second in runs?
Yeah, they ended up at the end of the year, the Dodgers passed the Brewers. So the Brewers scored 806 runs, Dodgers scored 825. But to score those runs, as we said, the Dodgers had to hit
78
more home runs to get 19 more runs.
78 home runs. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that is a lot.
And then if you look at it on the pitching side, let's look at earned runs allowed. The Brewers gave up the least in the National League, 574. The Dodgers were on the bottom half, 633. So the Brewers gave up 59 less runs than the Dodgers on the year.
Again, it's going to be an exciting series, and I don't. Anybody that's doubting the Brewers is crazy. The Milwaukee Brewers in this last series showed us exactly who they were. In the 6-0 loss, I wasn't even sweating that. It was sad because you really wanted to close them out when you're up 2-0. But, I mean, that's what happens in baseball. You have bad games. The Brewers and the Dodgers are both probably going to have a bad game during this series. That's
and 6-0, the score of the game 4 for the Brewers against the Cubs was the same as the series between the Brewers and the Dodgers this year, right?
That is right.
6-0.
And people didn't believe it because remember, the Dodgers are hurt. They're down. We can't look too much into it. And the Brewers ended up showing the second half is who they're going to be. Late first half, that was the team they were going to be, the best team in baseball, and they're still the best team in baseball. So
Dodgers look very good against the Phillies, right? Like that was a competitive series against a really good team. Both of those teams grinded. The Dodgers have about 7 or 8 pitchers who are starting pitchers, who are going to be able to come out of the bullpen in this series, guys who are highly paid guys. But I think what we know is that the Brewers also have a very, very deep pitching staff, right? I mean, we saw about half of them in this series. We're going to need to see a bunch of the other half, right? Like, I don't think you're going to be able to rely.
No, 7-game series, you got to get to 4.
If this game goes deep, right? If this series goes deep, I think we're going to have to see a lot more arms than we saw in the high leverage situations, right? Unless you're getting 7 innings out of starting pitchers, right?
Which in the playoffs, you need a guy to be absolutely lights out. But based off our starting pitchers, Quentin Priester, Jose Quintana will be the other guys that are starters. I just don't expect it. You said maybe Mizorowski, he ain't going 7 innings, right? Freddie's the only one, so you're going to have to rely heavily on this bullpen to get you to the finish line. But I'm good with that. I'm 100% good with that.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe Miz can go 6 or 7 innings. The way he looked yesterday, he went 4 yesterday. I wouldn't have been sad if he had come out for one more.
I don't. Obviously, he's probably not on like a strict pitch count, but they're probably very mindful of the fact that this is the most innings he's ever pitched as a Major League Baseball player.
And remember, like the Brewers bullpen, kind of. I don't want to say got a full rest in this series. But they're not overworked coming out of this series, I don't think, right? Like if you look at, how they had to go, obviously Uribe pitched 2 innings, which is a little out of norm, but he pitched 3 total innings in this series, right?
Even Chad Patrick, even though he had 4 appearances in this, he had 2 games where he had less than an inning that he pitched. He pitched only for 1 batter in game 4. So, I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, Miz is the guy who was used the most because, Freddie, in his second game, ended up, not throwing as many pitches. And in his first game, they were up so big that he didn't have to throw 100 pitches. So I do think that is an advantage that as much as the Brewers went 5, so you would think, they're the more tired team. They're the more, kind of beat up team. I don't think the pitching staff comes in. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, God, they're shot. Like, I look at the Mariners who played today. We were talking about that. Think about that. They played 15 innings in Seattle on Friday night. They had all their starting pitchers coming in to throw innings.
Yeah, because they had to get it.
And then they're playing today in Canada across, I would say across the country, but across 2 countries.
It is on the opposite side. And also with that as well, I mean, the benefit the Milwaukee Brewers have is this. You just talked about Seattle having to go coast to coast.
Yep.
Milwaukee gets yes, you use some arms. You had game 5. The Dodgers got a little bit more rest, but guess what? You get to sleep at home. The Dodgers all of a sudden they didn't know whether or not they'll be at home or not. They had to hop on a plane a day to get ready, right?
Right, because it's not like because it wasn't like, oh, we're either going to be in Chicago or Milwaukee, so we can come out and hang in the Midwest, right? Like because they would have been hosting if it had been the Cubs. So, yeah.
And that's the importance of having the best record in baseball is that you have the opportunity. If you do go 5 and another series ends early, guess what? You get to stay home. You know every single time where you're going to be, and it's going to be starting right here in Milwaukee.
Somehow these London games always end up tight.
They do, always.
A 13-11. Broncos lead the Jets under 5 minutes. We'll give you the last update on what happens there, and we'll talk about this Brewers lineup. because I want to ask you if you like the lineup or if there's a little tinkering that needs to be done. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Greg Matzek, Gary Ellerson, the day after reaction show you need in your life.
Who benefits the most from Micah Parsons being on the field? Secondary. Keyshawn Nix.
It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Mondays with Greg and Gary.
If you're a quarterback, you've got to get the football out of your hands before you really want to do it. I mean, everybody's getting their wealth with this, but to me, I think it's really the guys in the secondary.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday on 94.5 ESPN.
The dance of sunlight on water.
Shimmering, sparkling, beautiful, hypnotic.
Houses that overlook a gorgeous body of water are the most highly desired houses in the world.
The Bellamare collection of fine jewelry features classic white diamonds, flanked and surrounded by rare and exotic blue diamonds.
Bellamare means beautiful water.
Bellamare, sunlight on water, glimmering and twinkling.
The dance is enticing.
The look is spectacular.
The impact is exciting.
Blue and white diamonds created in the heart of Mother Nature
will dance and sing on the body of a glittering, sparkling woman.
Bellamare. This blue and white beauty of sunlight on water
should be worn on the fingers,
the wrist,
the neck, and the ears
of the woman you love.
The Bellamare collection is available only at Kessler's.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
For your fellow fanatics and your number one fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
When it comes to joint replacement, you want the best care available. The Orthopedic Surgery Center in Pewaukee is a leader in joint replacement, offering same-day surgery with advanced technology. Their team of experts specializes in knee, hip, and shoulder replacements, using the latest techniques to minimize pain and recovery time. By choosing them, you're choosing a center focused on providing specialized care tailored to your needs. The team at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin can get you back to what matters, living pain-free.
And their prices are more affordable than urgent care or the ER. And they'll send a full report to your primary care doctor. Why wait at the ER? Walk in to Ortho ASAP for faster, more affordable care.
Total joint replacement. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com. That's orthowisconsin.com.
When severe weather hits and the power goes out, do you have a plan? For reliable power and peace of mind, propane can do that. It only takes about 10 seconds for a propane-powered generator to restore power to your home. So no matter what Mother Nature has in store, you know you're prepared. Learn more at wipga.org. This message is sponsored by your local propane provider and the Wisconsin Propane Education and Research Council.
We don't just cover the green and gold. We cover the green and gold. Your home for Green Bay football talk on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The 2-1. Grounded softly to second base. Terang fields, throws, inning over. Abner Uribe allows a one-out walk. That is it.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
I legit knew that was the 8th inning. Like, just when I heard that ground ball. Like, that's how memorable, like, every moment felt in that game last night as the Brewers win. The Jets sacked Bo Nix on 4th down. You know how many teams have no wins in the NFL this year, Kyle?
Are the Jets the last one without a win?
They are. Good call. The last team standing with no wins is the New York Jets. They are going to be receiving a punt from 3-2 Denver Broncos in a game where the Jets have not scored a touchdown, where Garrett Wilson has single-digit yards, and where they've had no offense. And with 2.5 minutes left, the Jets are getting the ball down 13-11 with a chance to kick a field goal and win this game, in a game where the Broncos special teams have let them down a few times. This time the punt coverage is pretty solid. The Jets take over at their own 44. So you're looking at really 2 first downs for the Jets, which has been, I don't know if they have more than 10 on the game. Like, legit.
Yeah, they haven't been, all it's been is field goals, and then the safety in the end zone is going to be clutch at this point.
The Jets have 7 first downs on the entire game, so they need 2 in this 2-minute drive
for a 4-quarter game.
Yeah, they are out of timeouts, so this will pretty much be their last drive. So we'll see what happens there. But back to the Brewers, and as we think about the Brewers, they're settling in to. Oh my God! The Jets tried a shotgun on first down. Justin Fields didn't catch the snap. Breece Hall picks it up and runs for 7 or 8 yards. So one of their most productive plays of the game
was on luck.
Was because the center had an awful snap, and Breece Hall. That's what a mess the Jets are right now. But as you look at this lineup, Kyle, I want to keep Perkins and Ortiz in the lineup. But does it bother you that they're back-to-back? Because it felt like last night it was kind of happening a little bit where Durbin got on and Frelick got on, or they'd start to get something going, and then it would be toward that bottom of the order. And we know Ortiz came up so often this year with the bases loaded. Do you like the way the lineup's built, or do you feel like you need to split up Perkins and Ortiz in some way?
Where else would you put them at? You can't put them with the meat of the order. You can't put them at the top of the order because you don't want them early striking out or not getting on base. You stash your guys at the bottom of the order. That's what you do.
So you're saying you don't.
Unless you have somebody who can turn over, you want your 9 hitter to be somebody who can be like another leadoff hitter.
I was thinking more. I kind of like Ortiz in that 9. I was just thinking, does it make sense? And maybe it doesn't because it just gets him less at bats. Like, does it make sense to put either Durbin or Frelick 6th and the other one 8th? You know what I mean? So just like it doesn't. So like you have the guy spread out a little bit more in the order. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. And Durbin came up big yesterday.
Durbin was huge.
Yeah, he came up big yesterday.
By the way, 2 for 2. He also walked.
Yeah.
He also stole a base.
Yeah.
He also made a really
legit steal
where they had to replay it. Yeah, the review. Then he also made a nice play coming in early.
Early in the game came in.
That's when your stomach like even a regular ground ball felt stressful because you saw the Cubs make an error on
Dansby Swanson.
Yeah. On an Ortiz, right? On Ortiz, like a routine ground ball.
It sailed on him a little bit.
So the fact that Durbin made that defensively, Durbin played just a great all-around game in that game. So I'm not saying move him down because he's not hitting. I'm just saying, is it better to space out Perkins and Ortiz as maybe the 2 lightest hitting guys on the squad?
No, you hope for the best with those guys. Because one thing is, not so much with Joey O, but I think with Blake Perkins, maybe you can have a game where he can maybe pop. I believe game 1 or game 2, he had.
He had the huge hit in game 1.
11 pick at bat.
Yeah.
And then, but then in addition, they had a walk yesterday, and so I'm okay with that because I feel.
But that walk was a 4-pitch walk where they were just like, all right, let's get to Ortiz there.
And so, but with that, I have more confidence in the fact that Blake Perkins could potentially pop out. Joey Ortiz,
and
you have what?
I have some confidence in Ortiz. Like he will
hit.
He's going to get a big hit in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
It's not like he's
big
totally
hit or a hit.
A big hit.
So you think because there's a difference
because there's
going
to
to
be guys on
game.
base. He's just gonna have so many guys on base that he is gonna come through in one of these spots because it's not like he's completely overmatched. He's the lightest hitting guy on the team, which is no apologies, right? He's a defensive whiz at shortstop. Like you're willing to take that trade off, and he's not. In the second half of the season, we saw that he could make a meaningful impact on this offense.
Yeah,
so,
when I saw Bryce Terang in a slump here in this series, I was like, Bryce is going to break out. Bryce is going to break out. When it comes to guys like Perkins and more so Joey Ortiz, it's like, let's see what we get, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Whatever
I
we
agree.
Can get from even with Caleb Durbin, you're like, all right, we're going to get something from
Frelick, Durbin, and Terang, you knew they would come through at some point.
At some point, right? Like, and probably not in that order, but probably Terang, you for sure thought you get something. Frelick, then Durbin's like, all right, he's probably going to pop at one point. But, overall, I like keeping the lineup
because through that series, Contreras, Churio, Vaughn, and Yelly. Yelly, yes, last night. But
the last two games he went to sleep.
But early in the series, Yelly got.
He was huge.
He
was huge. He was
That's what I'm saying. Like throughout the series, just about everyone besides Ortiz had their moment in that series. And incredibly, the Brewers advance. And we are going to be talking about not just like for the next day, because we're going to move on to talk about the Brewers and the Dodgers, and we'll even do that as this show continues. But we're going to be talking about that Brewers-Cubs game for a long time to come, years from now, just like Carlos Daniels' great opening game win in 1998 against the Don't
disrespect. But the significance of this game is that in the first time in franchise history, both these teams matched up in the playoffs. But then having Craig Counsell, the former manager, the hometown kid, coming back here, and don't also understand that Craig Counsell did something that he wasn't able to do. We all talked about, the Brewers couldn't get out the first round since 2018. Well, the manager, or part of that, was Craig Counsell, so he was able to get his new team out of the first round. So, again, it would have been tough to have Craig Counsell and our hated Chicago Cubs, our rivals, come into AmFam Field like that they like to call Wrigley North and disrespect us and come out with a victory. That would have been a tough pill to swallow. So I think the good guys won on this time, with the Milwaukee Brewers being the good guys. The above-average Joes, as Pat Murphy calls them. And speaking of Pat Murphy, Craig, listen.
And real quick, when you talked about the resources, the Chicago Cubs had the 10th highest salary at $196 million. And the Brewers 23rd at $115 million. So almost double the salary.
We never had a $199 million salary.
And by the way, the Dodgers over $320 million.
They said in I won't say property taxes. They said in luxury tax the Dodgers pay a whole bunch of money that's close to the Brewers' salary.
Yeah. So, and that, by the way, I think that $320 million for the Dodgers compared to the $110 is paying zero. Like, they pay Shohei Ohtani like $1 million.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's not even counting.
How is that even legal?
Well, they're deferring it till later.
Yeah, but how is that legal?
I don't know, but I'm saying that doesn't even count. Like they have three times the salary of the Brewers without even counting
a guy who makes $50 million a year.
By the way, Garrett Wilson unable to hold on.
He just got popped. He didn't even get hit that hard.
Unable to hold on to a ball that would have given the Jets a first down.
He's been doing a lot of laying on the ground.
It is now 4th and 8 with 1:14 to go.
Pick six, interception.
For the Jets. They need are they going to try to kick? They're not going to try to kick a field goal from here. They're showing
where are they
they're showing the kicker. They are not. They're at the 44-yard line. Nick Folk, I don't think, has a 61-yarder in him. So the Jets are going to go for it on 4th and 8 against the best pass rush in the NFL. The Denver Broncos, who have been all over them all day. And it is a sack as we expected. So the New York Jets will remain the only team in the NFL without a victory. Jersey. They will go down to 0-6. The Denver Broncos in maybe the most interesting division, or the best division.
Well, you thought that until the Chargers started losing.
Well, but I guess interesting, right? Because the Chiefs, and
the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs like we thought they were. I mean, especially after a loss to the Jags. I mean, listen, at the end of the year, the Chiefs still are going to be in it. They're going to be part of that conversation, but it's anybody's division, and the Broncos are good, the Chargers are good, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs.
So are we staying with that the NFC North is the best division?
I would say the NFC North is the best division because the worst team in the division, the Chicago Bears, are 2-2,
but they should have lost the Raiders.
But at the end of the day, they are 2-2. So you're talking about a division that has the look like the Vikings may be finding themselves a little bit. You have the Green Bay Packers, who we know are good. You have the Detroit Lions, who look like probably the most consistent team in the NFL for sure after the Eagles debacle. So, which made me feel the Eagles losing, even though it destroyed me in Cover 5, because Cover 5 has been a complete disaster for me of late. But the Eagles losing to the Giants should give Packers fans a lot of hope in the sense of there's no team in the NFL this year that is a front runner. Like, there's no team you can sit and say, oh, yeah, this team is by far the best team. This is great for the Packers. Whoever's playing the best football late is going to be a team that makes a run.
I think there's only one team you could say that about in the NFL this year.
The Lions?
Yes, and the Packers smoked them.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? Like, the only team that for the last 4 weeks has looked consistently like an elite team is a team that in week 1, the Packers dominated. So that is a wild way to look at the first 5 weeks of this NFL season. We will talk more about the Milwaukee Brewers. Before that, though, we'll talk about Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. I was at the Brewers game last night, and I saw the Gruber Law Offices T-shirt toss. And when David's face gets on the screen, everybody cheers, and everybody knows David Gruber because they're part of this community. That's what it's about. It's about helping people in this community, and it's about relationships that have been built for decades. Those relationships aren't because there's a billboard up or there's a TV commercial. It's because of helping people. It's about being involved in all the philanthropy. It's about all the community activities. It's about all the sporting events. That's what Gruber Law Offices is. Tens of thousands of clients helped. National recognition, local ownership, and it's why if you or a loved one is ever injured, it's one call. That's all with Gruber Law Offices.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Milwaukee College Prep, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dream. Join me, Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 23rd at Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education is accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee. Enjoy food, drinks, and a chance to learn more. Purchase tickets at 2025. TakeAstand.GiveSmart.com. That's 2025. TakeAstand.GiveSmart.com.
For over 40 years, the Boucher Automotive Group is proud to have served Wisconsin with dedication and heart, one customer at a time. But we knew we could do even more.
In the last 5 years, we've expanded across the state, adding new locations, new brands, and new ways to better serve you.
At Boucher, growth isn't always about being bigger. It's about being better. Better selection, better service, better experiences.
Where you're going matters, and Boucher is driven to get you there. The Boucher Automotive Group. We ride with you every mile.
Best Marquette games ever, brought to you by Saganiac Planning. The best regular season win ever. Marquette beat the #1 team in the country and the defending national champion. Villanova was both in January of 2017. Marquette won 74-72, though trailed by 17 and needed a 19-4 run at the end of the game. Caden Reinhardt, game-winning 2 free throws, 11 seconds left. Oh, baby, you bet the fans ran on the court. Should be required when you beat the current #1 and the defending national champ on the same night. If you're a company owner offering medical insurance for your employees, you may be sick and tired of the constant increase in rates or change in benefits. Now's the time to take a look at a different type of plan. At Saganiac Planning, it's called level funding, an opportunity to keep premiums low and possibly receive a return of your premiums. For more on level funding, call Steve Llewellyn, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
I've been to my fair share of green and gold games, and the best way to get there is with Accutrans Group. At Good Karma Brands and ESPN Milwaukee, we use Accutrans Group to get our partners to and from Green Bay, and it's always first class. From stadiums to concerts and tailgates, your game day fun starts the moment you step on board. Sit back, relax, and let their professional chauffeurs handle the traffic while you enjoy the ride. Accutrans Group is Milwaukee's premier ground transportation, available 24/7 with sedans, SUVs, limos, vans, and buses. Book today at AccuTransGroup.com.
I'd like you to listen to a little question and answer session with James Imaging Systems client Preston Clark. He oversees IT services at Creative Business Interiors. Preston, why James?
I do feel like that we are partnered, again, as opposed to being sold to.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
If I need service, they're here almost within 4 hours every time. I've never had an issue where I'm like, where is that guy?
That works for you and the business, right, Preston?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to worry about it.
Plus, there's IT-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation from James Imaging Systems.
I've got information that I can then go to my superiors with and say, hey, here's how we can save a little bit of money.
And
then I kind of look like the hero, too.
Want to be the hero in your office? Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Your neighbors are talking. Did you see their siding? Yikes. That drafty window? It's basically air conditioning. From nature. Don't be the scary house on the block this fall. Call Exterior Pros and Baths and get $3,000 off your roofing, siding, windows, or bath project. No tricks, just treats. That's 262-800-4274 or click your way to extpros.com. Fall in love with your home again. Trust the pros.
Kyle Broston Nortman, KBN.
The results speak for themselves, and either you're going to jump on board or you're going to find out why they are who they are.
On 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Here's the pitch into right, and fly ball to center. Joe Armstrong's back at the track. It is gone! Bryce Terang, an October moment, gives the Brewers insurance here in the seventh. 3-1 Milwaukee. Terang has sent this place into a frenzy.
This is Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
I know people are clowning Crow Armstrong for when he jumps at those balls.
Dude he's an interesting guy.
When he jumps at the balls that are like 30 feet out of the stadium, and he still jumps and bumps into the wall and knocks himself out. Like, it's kind of comical, but
yeah.
he made a nice.
I got to what?
You got to appreciate the way he plays the game, and he made a nice diving catch coming in. He did not have a great offensive.
Okay, I enjoy how much passion he plays with, but
yeah,
playing the game also includes how you act around the game, and when you're striking out. Yelling at them, which happens, or when you go up to the dugout throwing a tantrum, or when you pop out, you're throwing the bat. Like
no.
Yeah.
What okay, it's fair. I mean, no. I'm saying that's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
He's kind of got to reel it in. He needs some guys. I'm shocked that Pat Murphy wouldn't have any of that. He would calm that down. He's a little out of control. He's a little bit of a head case. Craig.
And he struggled down the stretch of the year.
He
right?
was trying to bunt because he didn't trust his bat in this series.
Yep.
Craig, down 0-2, he's trying to bunt.
Guy was a MVP candidate early in the year, and really
he's a head case. He's Ron Artest.
I mean, that's kind of deep. But so if you look at it, his OPS 953 in April, 888 in May, 771 in June, 984 in July. How about 446 in August in 100 at bats, and 646 in September in 76 at bats. I mean, that's a guy who you didn't fear, right? I mean, you fear everyone in the playoffs. You kind of fear everyone in the playoffs because you're always scared. But I didn't fear him, certainly didn't fear him the way I feared Bush or even like a guy like Horner, right? Horner felt like could get on base all the time. I mean, PCA did not instill that fear in you.
No, PCA was completely lost, and he wore it on his shoulder, his chest. You can see that he was distraught. You can see he was lost at the plate. And I mean, he did come up big in Game 3, I believe, for the Cubs, where he had a big hit. But
interestingly, Tucker was 0 for 10 in the games in Milwaukee. He had some big hits in Chicago.
Yeah, they're very mad at him.
But he took a big 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts last night. which, I mean, that is definitely an interesting one in terms of what they're going to do. But so much good stuff to think about with the Brewers. And this year, it's kind of also feels a little, I mean, everyone's been saying, oh, this year's so different. This year's so different. Like last year felt so good, and the Brewers went, from the first game to the last game, the Brewers
wire to wire
last year, leading the division. But last year we had the Willy Adames thing kind of hanging over us the whole season.
Yeah.
This year, there's also not that, right?
No, your team comes back next year. Like who's not coming back?
Right,
and this is building into something, and also these guys, they just, it seemed like in the last couple of postseasons, like, oh, well, who will they be here? Will they not be here? Or last year, Devin Williams was part of that too.
And Freddie makes sense to be back next year, right? Even if the year after he's not, right?
Hey, guess what? You know what you get? You get a competitive balance. You get a pick. Like you can predict, I don't know what round. I think
compensatory pick. And Freddie this year has every right. I mean, Paul Skeens will win the Cy Young Award. But that's what Freddie was at the top of this order. Quinn Priester, who I think should go game one, but I've stopped questioning what this team does.
I would have went Jose Quintana to go game one because he's such a veteran, and to have him go one and Priester go game two, since you're not going to have Freddie go game two, right? You think you'll have Freddie go game two? Because that'll be Tuesday, and he last pitched Thursday.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah,
that's fine.
So I thought Freddie would go game two, so you go Priester game one.
And I don't want Priester on the road. I want, because he even admitted, and Pat Murphy admitted, the moment was too big for him, which is okay. And I love that level of accountability to say, you know what, that's okay. We get better from that. We learn from that.
But I don't think you can. I mean, you can't oh, okay, we're gonna not have Priester on the roster next round, or we're not gonna he's got to be a part of this if this team's gonna do it, right?
Yeah, I would probably go Jose Quintana personally, or if you decide you want to go.
Wait, so then you would bump back Priester to game 3 in LA?
No, I don't.
So you just said you'd go Quintana. So then you go Freddie in LA game 3? Because Freddie didn't look great on the road either.
He didn't, but he was able to, after the 3-run home run, he was able to get it settled. I mean, I want us to treat this like, obviously it's the playoffs, but we're going to throw Priester out there, fine. But I would prefer, in my perfect world, it would go Quintana, Priester, and then Freddie. But that will be Freddie.
So you would go Freddie in L.A. with extra rest?
I would prefer that because I want Quintana. I want Priester at home.
See, I trust Quintana on the road.
Yeah, I mean, and he's...
So that's what I'm saying. If you go Priester 1, Peralta 2, then you go Quintana 3, and then game 4... Again,
there's a lot of pressure in the game one, Craig.
Whether
game one of a series is a lot of pressure.
And I think probably game 4 ends up being a bullpen game and not Miz starting, because I think they like having Miz in the role he was in game 2 and game 5. And so my gut is, even with only 2 off days in a best of 7, which are the same amount of off days we just saw in a best of 5, I think we still see a bullpen game in game 4. We will have our Palermo's picks. Greg Scalzo, Alex Strofe. Join us as we continue at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. While you may be primarily known for preying on your opponents, I think we'll be doing the hunting this week.
It's all about the chase. It's about the chase. Can we get the gazelle? Is Lamar Chase the gazelle? No, Flacco's the gazelle.
Flacco with protection. It breaks down and he's sacked.
Get all your green and gold coverage leading up to Packers versus Bengals right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hi, it's Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch, inviting you to join me July 5th on a journey through the lovely landscapes of England, Scotland, and Wales with Colette. We'll take in the charm of the countryside and the history of the great cities. Imagine standing before Big Ben in London, then later gazing out from Edinburgh Castle. So rich in history, it feels like you're stepping back in time. Along the way, we'll explore the storybook villages of Chester and Shakespeare's Stratford-upon-Avon, places where every street seems to whisper a piece of history. history? And how about a scenic train ride through the rolling green hills that lead us right into the medieval city of York? It's all part of this incredible journey. From iconic landmarks to cozy villages, from bustling city streets to peaceful countryside views, you'll experience the very best of Britain's history, culture, and beauty, and create memories that last a lifetime. To learn more about this amazing adventure, text TRAVEL to 800-990-3776 or visit ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com for full details.
For your fellow fanatics and your number one fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
Homer here with a message about Three Pillars Senior Living Communities, located on a serene setting along the Bark River on 300 gorgeous acres. Three Pillars Senior Living Communities is a top-ranked full continuum community. Active adult, independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and rehab. Three Pillars, the hands-down choice for you or your loved one. Been there. Know people who live there. They love it. You gotta go to Dousman and see it in person. Get all the info on Three Pillars at threepillars.org.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond, from garages to new home offices. Our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Kunis Hope Chevrolet of Milwaukee is having a massive grand opening celebration, and you're invited. 3 days only. Thursday, October 16th through Saturday, October 18th. Unprecedented grand opening celebration pricing and discounts on our entire inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs. Plus over 800 pre-owned vehicles, starting as low as $39.95 and only $199 per month. We'll be paying above market value on all trade-ins during this event, no matter what the mileage or condition. And during our 3-day celebration, you can take advantage of grand opening service specials on oil changes, replacement tires, brake pads, and rotors. Almost all services with hundreds in savings. It's a party, and you're invited. All brought to you by your good friends and neighbors at Kunis Hope Chevrolet, Milwaukee's #1 Chevy superstore. Don't miss the Kunis Hope Chevrolet of Milwaukee's huge grand opening celebration. Thursday, October 16th through Saturday the 18th, just off I-41 at 11100 West Auto Mall Drive. For info online at KunisHopeChevy.com.
Hey, this is Tanas Antetokounmpo. Download the new ESPN Wisconsin app.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. You're listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Kyle's going crazy over something.
Greg is talking about, hey, this Keanu Reeves movie. And Strofe was like, oh, yeah, you're talking about Taken with Keanu Reeves. And I'm like, bro, what?
Is he thinking that Speed?
Speed's an all-time great
I said Matrix. That is Keanu Reeves, right?
That is Keanu Reeves.
Okay, so I got that one right. He was thinking of John Wick, everybody.
Speed 2, also an underrated sequel, in my opinion. When they're on the boat, not as good as Speed 1. Sandra Bullock, phenomenal in that movie, but I digress.
Sandra Bullock, probably underrated actress.
I would disagree. I think she's well accomplished.
Properly rated?
Yeah, I think Sandra Bullock had a run where she was like one of the best at the time.
Craig, what's your opinion on Sandra Bullock?
Properly rated. Let's get into our picks, but before that, you're kind of up there in the Door County area. Strophe, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, not far away from Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in Door County, just north of Sturgeon Bay in Carlsville. They've got it all: whiskeys, rums, gins, vodkas, brandies, all the in-betweens, whatever you need to mix up on this game day. Do it right, do it with Door County Distillery. Visit their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you ahead of kickoff. That's doorcountydistillery.com.
All right. Well, as we get to our Palermo's picks, we are not going to look at what we did from Cover 5 last week.
Oh, my God.
Why not? We should look at that. I did great last week.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, that might have been the worst week in history.
No, I think I had the worst week in history.
Craig,
whatever you did was good compared to me.
Craig,
I had the Ravens, like they were losing by like 50. Like I was like a negative like 80 last week.
Damn.
Like I was setting records last week.
Hold on. I'm going to have to open it up because I did so bad that I didn't even look at the app. When I do bad, I don't even open up the app. And then I thought
63.5 for me last week.
So you made all the right choices.
Wow. Positive. All right. Well, that's why we're not going to be focusing
so
there.
we're not doing Cover 5
That's
at all.
Fair point. Fair point.
It's why we need. By the way, of 100 last week, I was a negative 58.5. Just so you know, only 5 people were worse than me, including Greg Scalzo, who was a minus 61.5.
Nice job, Greg.
Yeah, taking that Baltimore, thinking it was going to be like a Hewing theory game was not the right move.
Yeah, you and I both had Baltimore. We both had the Giants. Who lost 10.5 last week.
And then the Giants bounced back like this.
Yeah.
And I had
I'm
LA.
at negative 23.
You had the Chargers who got killed. I had the Cardinals who got killed. I mean, it was a rough.
This week's a new week.
It is, but it's a new week for us to talk about baseball because that's what today's been about. Let's talk about the Brewers and the Dodgers because that is the series. If we're going to do a Palermo's pick, that's what we need to be thinking about. Greg, I'll let you start. We said it. The odds makers have this at about the Brewers with a 35% chance to win this series. How do you look at it?
I think that's probably overdoing it in favor of the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers have the star power. I think the Brewers are deeper. And I think that if they can get quality starts out of Priester, Peralta, and Quintana, they're going to be in good shape. I'm going Brewers in 7. I think this thing pushes to the final game. I think the Brewers end up winning their first pennant since 1982, and they do it against one of the more star-studded teams in the last 25 or so years in baseball when you've got 3 MVPs in the lineup that you're facing. But this team has found a way all year. They believe in each other. This organization has been building towards a team like this for how long? And Pat Murphy and Matt Arnold, as much as I disagree with so many of the decisions they made in the NLDS, they are pushing the right buttons in a certain way.
What do you mean by that? You said that before, and we're short on time.
I think that they should have gone Priester in Game 2 at home, Quintana in Game 3, Freddie in Game 4, and if you needed it, you had a healthy Priester in Game 5. And they went bullpen game in Game 2. And Mizorowski ended up.
Enough of that. Everything you said. What do you think, Stroh? I mean, playing Monday morning quarterback.
No, but he's admitting that he was wrong and that it worked out.
He's saying that they're doing the right things, even though I disagreed with them.
He's giving a compliment ultimately, so I'm going to let it fly. I agree with Greg. I think it's Brewers in 7. I believe it was the great American orator Ric Flair who first said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And obviously the Dodgers, the reigning World Series champions. There we go. Very well done. I've got the Brewers in 7. It's not going to be comfortable. It might not be fun at points, but I think the Brewers find a way to get it done and punch their ticket to the World Series.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani 1-0 in 6 innings in the first series. We're talking about a guy who's like a different type of dude. Kyle, what do you think?
Listen, I think we got Pat Murphy as our manager, and I believe in Pat Murphy. I believe in the guy after an 0-4 start, and the run differential was crazy. People were doubting. People were talking about torpedo bats. Fast forward now to October. We're talking about a team that is now in the NLCS. So I am standing behind Pat Murphy. Any and every decision that Pat makes, I'm standing behind it 10 toes down. I'm taking my Brewers. I don't care if it's 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games. My Brewers going to the World Series.
Okay, how many games?
We'll do it in 6.
Okay. Shockingly, I'm going to complete this group by saying I think this series, I said Game 5 was going to be about defense, pitching, base running. I'm going to take the best pitching team to win in a Game 5, and the Brewers clearly outpitched the Cubs yesterday. I think a series like this, again, is going to be about the bullpen. I think a long 7-game series is going to be about the bullpen, and the Dodgers will have some good starters pitching out of the bullpen, but we've said it. every year the Brewers bullpen seems to get there, and McGill looked great. On top of Uribe, on top of Patrick, on top of Miz, on top of Koenig, on top of Mears, on top of CL Hall, on top of Ashby, on top of like 8 guys who didn't even make the postseason roster. Let's see who's on it. But either way, Brewers in 6, taking a page from the Bucks. So stay healthy, stay together. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. Don't settle. Kyle?
Go Pack.